Hi everyone, my name is Aaliyah Castleberry. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a career consultant at the UConn Center for Career Development. Today I will be presenting on the resume as part of our Husky to Hire series. Before we get into our overview, I want to talk briefly about becoming career ready, what career competencies are, and what specific competencies this presentation and utilizing the Center for Career Development will help develop. Becoming career ready comes from the National Association of Colleges and Employers Foundation of Career Readiness, which is having the ability to demonstrate core competencies that broadly prepare the college educated for success in the workplace and lifelong career management. In simpler terms, becoming career ready is the development and articulation of these 8 competencies that have been identified by employers as essential for career success. We have some great resources on our website, career.uconn.edu, to help you identify your competency levels and ways to further develop them. Choosing to learn about the Center for Career Development is an excellent way to further build your career in self-development, communication, professionalism, and technology competencies. Additionally, we can assist you in finding many ways to enhance and how to talk about each of these competencies during your time at UConn. In this webinar, we will cover resume basics, including what is a resume, types of resumes, and resume guidelines. We will also go through the required recommended categories you should have on your resume. Then, we'll get into bullet point statements, covering what they are and how to write them. Lastly, we'll discuss what makes an effective resume. First, we'll go over the basics of a resume. A resume is a document that presents critical and relevant information to the reader, which could be an employer or graduate school. It's typically a one-page document that highlights your educational background, experiences, accomplishments, skills, and interests, though it could be longer depending on your industry and depth of experiences. It's the most important document in marketing yourself professionally, so you want to make a good first impression. The goal of a resume is to get an interview, and the interview is what gets you the position. There are 3 types of resumes: a master resume, an industry-oriented resume, and a resume you tailor for a specific position. The length and content of each depends on the audience. Your master resume is a document that you use for yourself to keep track of everything you've done. Since it's just for you, it can be as long as you want or need it to be. From there, you can pick and choose the most relevant experiences to create a tailored 1- or 2-page resume for a specific position. An industry-oriented resume is a more narrowed version of your master resume that is tailored to a specific industry or field. Your industry-oriented resume is still for yourself, but instead of including everything on your master resume, it just includes the most relevant content for that industry. From there, you can make small adjustments to your industry resume in order to tailor it to a specific position. When you are creating your resume, we have some general rules that you should follow. An undergraduate resume should be 1 page in length. In some fields, and for graduate program applications, a 2-page resume may be standard, so students in these fields may have a longer resume. Margins should be 1/2 inch to 1 inch. The margins you choose should be the same on each side of the page. Your font size should be between 10.5 and 12. Choose an easy-to-read font that is commonly found on most computers. Times New Roman, Garamond, Calibri, or Arial are all good choices. Be consistent with your formatting. Each experience and activity should include what we call the core 4: the organization, the location, position title, and dates of involvement formatted in months and years. Be consistent with bolding and italics. In the example shown, all of the organizations are bolded and position titles are italicized. Avoid abbreviations, except you may abbreviate states. Do not use templates, grids, or tables to format your resume. When using a template, you run the risk of your resume looking like another applicant's resume if they use the same template. Plus, templates are harder to customize if you want to include more tailored content. Additionally, many applications require online submission and use computer software called applicant tracking systems to scan your resume for keywords. This software does not read templates, grids, or tables very well and might reject your resume simply because it can't read it. Lastly, your resume should not have any typos or errors. Do not rely completely on spell check. Now, I'll go over the basic categories included on a resume. Employers typically look at a resume for only about 6 seconds before putting it into a yes, no, or maybe pile. Therefore, it's really important to make a good first impression to maximize your chances of being sorted into the yes pile. Notice how on this resume, the sections are easy to find, the information is well organized, and the document is pleasing to the eye. We'll go into each of these sections more in depth. Your contact information should be at the top of your document. List your full name in larger bold font. Include your mailing address. Remember, only states are abbreviated, so be sure to spell out roads like road, street, or drive. You may use either your campus address or your home permanent address, but only use one. Pick the one that's easiest to reach you at or shows proximity to the opportunity you are applying to. For example, if your home address is in Norwich and you're applying to summer internships in Norwich, it would be beneficial to use your Stamford address. List your phone number and be sure to have an appropriate voicemail set up. List your email address. We recommend using your UConn email address because it is professional and affiliates you with a top university. If you prefer to use a different email address, it should be professional, like the Gmail address listed in the example. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you can list the URL as well. After your contact information, you may choose to include an objective statement. Though optional, an objective statement is a great way to really tailor your resume to a specific position and highlight relevant skills you possess and will demonstrate in your bullet point statements. Objective statements contain 3 parts. They list the position or title you are applying for. They include the field, industry, or company. And 3, they list 2 or 3 transferable skills that you possess that are relevant to the position. These skills can generally be found in the position's description. Transferable skills are abilities, attributes, and personal qualities that someone possesses and can be used across industry lines. Some examples of transferable skills include administrative skills, interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and verbal and written communication skills because you can develop these skills at one experience, like volunteering at a hospital, and use them at another experience, like a summer internship or job after graduation. The next section on your resume is the education section. Include University of Connecticut fully spelled out. Do not abbreviate it to UConn. List the location. Below that, include your degree, major, and graduation date. If you are in the ACES program, you may list your major as undeclared, and if you have one, list an emerging academic interest below. Below your degree, you may also list your GPA out of 4.0, particularly if it is a 3.0 or above, and any honors or scholarships. This is also where you may list education abroad experiences or relevant coursework. If you are a freshman or sophomore, you may list your high school education information below University of Connecticut. Be sure to list the school name, location, high school diploma as the degree, and your graduation month and year. This information should be removed by your junior year to emphasize your more relevant college experiences. After your education section, you may have 1 or 2 sections for experience and activities. You may include jobs, internships, volunteer work, club membership, and other activities, both paid and unpaid. Each experience should be formatted consistently, including the core 4, the organization, location, your title, and the time period you were there in months and years. You may list present at the end date if you are still engaged in the experience. If it is a seasonal experience that you have held over multiple years, like a job that you work during summer and breaks, you can put seasonal in parentheses next to the dates. Below each experience, you may choose to include bullet points to highlight what you did at the job or activity. Within each section, experiences and activities should be listed in reverse chronological order, meaning you will list your most recent position first. When ordering your positions, order according to the end dates first. If you have multiple positions with the same end date, use the starting date to determine the order. For example, a position from May 2017 to August 2017 would come before a position from January 2017 to August 2017 because May 2017 is more recent than January 2017. The skills section should list hard skills or technical skills, which are defined and measurable. This could include computer, language, and laboratory skills as well as certifications. These type of skills can be demonstrated to an employer through a certification or test of ability. For instance, if an employer asks you to create a PowerPoint for a presentation, they will immediately know if you have the necessary skills based on your ability to complete the task. Now, your resume is your document that you can customize to fit your experiences and tailor for the position. There are all sorts of other sections you could include, such as leadership experience, research experience, military experience, volunteer experience, practicum or clinical experience, academic projects, and interests. Once you have the formatting and sections of your resume, you'll want to focus on writing bullet point statements. Bullet point statements are 1 to 2 lines that describe what you accomplished or learned in a certain experience. They are one of the most critical components of your resume because they allow the employer to understand how each experience relates to the one you are applying to, as well as describe the quality of your work and showcase your transferable skills. There are some general guidelines you should follow when writing bullet point statements. They should start with an action verb. For example, fundraised, manage, design are all action verbs. They are in the third person and do not contain personal pronouns such as I, me, my, or their. And pay attention to the verb tense. Past experiences should be listed in past tense, and experiences you're currently engaged in should be in present tense. We typically see mistakes in verb tense when students update their resume after ending an experience and forget to change verbs from present to past. You want to keep your bullet point statements to be 1 or 2 lines, and you want to limit your bullet points to 1 to 5 per experience, depending on the relevance and depth of the experience. Therefore, you need to get your point across in a strong, concise manner. When writing, quantify whenever possible to include how much or how many so the reader can get a sense of the scope of the task or responsibility. Not every bullet point can be quantified, but do quantify if it makes sense. For example, you could include the number of people you supervised or mentored, the number of projects or presentations you completed, the average number of customers you've served, or the percentage of students admitted to an honors organization you are a member of. You will have bullet point statements on your master or industry-oriented resume, and then you might rework them to better fit your resume tailored for a specific position. Now, I'm going to go over a 3-step bullet point statement activity. We're going to talk more in depth about how to write a bullet point statement, but first, you need to think about the experience you are seeking and the required skills that you possess. This is important to helping you decide what to include in your bullet point statements. For example, Jonathan Husky is looking for a position in the sales industry utilizing communication, critical thinking, problem solving, and organizational skills. Jonathan will emphasize these skills in his bullet point statements. You can even use this as a start to creating an objective statement based on a specific position and these skills. Next, Jonathan Husky needs to develop a bullet point statement that demonstrates one or more of the transferable skills he listed above. Bullet point statements include 3 things, which we call what, how, and why. The what is what did you do? What tasks or responsibilities did you complete? The example says, gave presentations to first-year students. The how is how did you do it? What skills did you use to complete the task or responsibility? Ideally, this part highlights a transferable skill you listed in step 1, but it could also be a technical or hard skill, industry-specific skills, or a specific procedure or protocol. The example says, communicating, teaching, time management, and problem solving. The why is why did you do it? What was the result or importance of the task or responsibility? How did it lead to a positive outcome for the organization? The example says to educate undergraduate students on resume writing and answer questions about career development. When you do this activity on your own, you will think about an experience you would like to write or improve a bullet point statement for. Then, brainstorm some tasks or responsibility for the what. List some of the skills you use for the how. Then, write the importance or outcome of the task for the why. Once you have your what, how, and why components, you can combine them to form a whole bullet point statement. On the next slide, you will see that Jonathan Husky wrote several drafts before getting to this final bullet point statement. Facilitated resume presentations in 12 first-year experience courses via Zoom to educate undergraduate students on resume writing and answer questions about career development. This final bullet point is very strong as it includes the most detail for what, how, and why while still being concise. When you do this activity on your own, you will combine your what, how, and why from step 2 and write a complete bullet point statement. Remember to start with an action verb. It took Jonathan a few tries before he reached a strong bullet point statement. Now, we're going to look at the evolution of Jonathan's bullet point statement. The first example says, gave presentations to first-year students. With a bullet point statement like this, an employer may still have a few questions. For example, what kind of presentations? How many presentations? Why was Jonathan facilitating these presentations? Also, instead of using the verb gave to begin his bullet point statement, it would be better if Jonathan started with an action verb. The third example says, presented 12 resume workshops to first-year students. This bullet now starts with a strong action verb, presented, which makes it easy for the reader to know exactly what the bullet point statement is addressing. Jonathan also quantified this bullet by identifying that he completed 12 resume workshops. However, this bullet is still missing why. The last example says, facilitated resume presentations in 12 first-year experience courses via Zoom to educate undergraduate students on resume writing and answer questions about career development. This bullet has incorporated what, how, and why, and has included more details like the number of presentations, the technology used to facilitate the presentations, and the goal of those presentations. As you get more comfortable with creating and updating bullet point statements, yours will get better over time. Remember, what, how, and why, and you'll be on your way. So why is it important to have an effective resume, and how can you make your resume more effective? A well-written and formatted resume tells an employer a lot about your professionalism and improves the chances of gaining an interview. It is your responsibility to demonstrate how your academic, extracurricular, and work experiences connect to every specific position you apply to. Look at the position description and search for clues. Use keywords and draw connections. It is important to remember that a successful resume must demonstrate experiences that match what the employer needs. Tailoring your resume helps employers see that you match their needs, and the job description will help you tailor your resume. When you are applying to a position, take some time to read the job description and highlight or circle keywords and skills. Take a moment to read the job description and think about what keywords or skills you would highlight or circle and include on a tailored resume or cover letter for this position. What does the job description emphasize? In this example, you might highlight writing and editing and communication skills, web development programs and social media, teamwork, flexibility, accountability and follow-through on commitments, which speaks to organizational and time management skills. If you were applying for this position, you would want to demonstrate to the employer that you possess these experiences, qualities, and skills in your resume. Choose a format that highlights the most relevant experiences. Highlight transferable skills in an objective statement and in your bullet point statements. Include technical and hard skills in a skills section. After this webinar, you can continue developing your document by taking a look at the resume and cover letter guide. You will get an email after the webinar with a link to the guide, or you can pick up a copy in our office. Visit our website at career.uconn.edu to see even more resources to help you with your document, including Career on Demand, scheduling an appointment for a resume or cover letter critique, and meeting with a career coach to discuss ways to find opportunities to gain experiences and build skills for your resume and cover letter. You can sign up to meet with a career coach on our website, and you can reach out to us with any questions you have at 860-486-3013 or by email at career@uconn.edu. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the Center for Career Development soon.